It is Wednesday evening, and you know what that means. It is time for our weekly Auburn Family Night, where we get together and we talk about whatever it is you want to discuss that's related to the Auburn experience, sports, culture, family, whatever it is. Let's get into it right now. War Eagle Auburn family, War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, we appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending some time, being a part of our little family within the Auburn family. As is the case with every Wednesday night, this show is for you. It is by you. It is about you. What you want to talk about, what you want to discuss, what you want to ask questions about, and of course, what you even want to call about tonight. It is a live call-in night. We'll open up the phone lines in just a little bit. We can discuss anything really you want to, but hopefully we'll keep it focused in on the Auburn experience here tonight with a big game coming up with Cal to discuss. I'm sure that'll be a lot of topic tonight. Let me go ahead and set the table for us. As you all know the drill, it is a humongous help if you are able to smash the like button wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, however you got here, and the share button. Invite a friend if you want to even tag a person on the, especially on Facebook, into the comments section here. It'll let them know that we're live, that they can join in on the fun. That is a humongous help. But you could also get us started tonight on a really good note by making sure that you post where you're watching from. Check in with us, your city, your state, international, with a War Eagle. Let us know that you are here and hanging out with us tonight. And we're going to get into a lot of good things. Started a little bit early tonight. We might do that typically on Wednesday nights when I can do that, just to kind of get things going. Especially, I will have to get out of here right at 9 this evening. So if you are someone that is thinking about calling in, trying to get something addressed tonight on the show, don't hesitate to go ahead and get it in right at the front end of the show. While you guys are gathering, checking in with us, let me go ahead and kind of give you some perspective on things that there are to discuss. I know we're in the middle of football season, and obviously all of your minds are very much on the next game with Cal. It's becoming quite a little bit of an interesting matchup, I think. A little bit more energy than I anticipated from the Cal fans around this. So we'll definitely talk a little bit about that, probably mostly about that. Things around the team. We can even get into some of the other sports if you're interested in discussing that. So all of that's on the table. The phone lines are now open for you to call in. I see one person's already addressed that we had a great TikTok live last night. Yes, we have broken over 1,000 followers on TikTok, and we now have the capability to go live there. So you may see me doing some things from time to time there. Don't really know yet kind of how often I'd like to utilize that. This is still obviously primarily our live station, our live shows here on YouTube and Facebook. Obviously, you guys are linked in too. So we'll make sure that we keep that as the primary live. But every once in a while, we like to try a few things, maybe some Q&As over there on TikTok Live. All right. So who is here hanging out with us tonight? We got a lot of good familiar faces here. Neil's here. Devin is here. Jan, Julian, Tyler. Good to see all of you guys checking in early with us. Thank you so much for being here and being part of the show. Julian says, in the words of the legendary announcer, Jim Fife, touchdown Auburn. I'm going to ruin it. He does it so much better than anybody else could do it. You know, one of the biggest trepidations for the late Rod Bramblett was when to actually say that iconic phrase. Now, most of you are probably saying, what's so iconic about saying touchdown Auburn? It seems like a very typical announcer thing. It was the way that Jim said it. And then Rod was nervous when he took over, when Jim unfortunately passed away too, very suddenly, when and how and if he should continue that style of doing it. Thankfully, each new announcer has kind of put their own spin on it, their own way of doing those things. And so they become their own person and their own personality and their own iconicness behind that. Devin, so this is kind of what I was referencing. The Cal fans are pretty fresh. When I say fresh, they mean they are amped up. jammed up jelly tight, as I like to say. I think they're smelling blood in the water, what they think is blood in the water. By the way, has anybody taken a look at that mascot? Boy, if you want to talk about something scary, I don't know what's scarier, the Clemson tiger, or if it is a tiger, and the Cal bear, if it is a bear. It's a very weird looking thing. But yes, things are getting pretty spicy with this game. I think for the first time in a long time, there will be a Pac-12 after dark game that everybody's truly interested in, simply because there's a little bit of animosity building, at least social media wise, between the two fan bases. Tyler said, had his thumb cramping for all the likes on the TikTok live. Much appreciated, Tyler. Of course, it was nice to see you there. Several other people that we've seen before. No, I have not, Devin. You need to call in tonight and tell me what he said. I need to know what he said. So from the kitchen live, call in tonight. The running back. Okay. Well, look, their running back is, based on last game and by all the reports, quite a stud. And so for now, he seems to be able to back up that talk. And I don't know exactly what he said, but I would assume it's some trash talk. And yeah, if he wants to back it up, sure, talk all day. Don't be afraid if we start. Don't be surprised if we start dishing it back out after a win if we get one. Yeah, that mascot is ugly with a capital U. Cody checking in from Opelika. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Neil says, I'm having PTSD from last year's Penn State game. Hope Auburn has a different outcome. Yeah, look, the last 2 years are going to give us PTSD for a while, given how far we fell with, not even talking about Brian Harsin being the right choice. The decision to change coaches at that time clearly was not the right decision. I think that's pretty definitive. Eventually Gus probably would have gotten fired if it had maintained the way it happened. If Brian was our solution, that was not the way to go. So we're here now with Hugh. Obviously, there is going to be a little bit of PTSD given what we've been through, but new regimes, new changes mean new opportunities and new ways to write the story. Yes, but make sure you do it a little as early as possible, because remember, I'll be getting out of here on time. I don't know what time their bedtime is, but I want to hear your take on this supposed trash talking that's happening from the Cal running back. So what's the temperature of the room about the game? How are we feeling? Look, we're going to be here tomorrow night too, 8 p.m. for our preview prediction show. Don't have a Cal person scheduled yet. I'm not really finding someone specifically I'd like to have on. I did a little bit of researching this week, and not that there's anybody bad to have on, but I like to find a particular style of voice and perspective, usually more of a fan perspective and less of a beat writer or reporter type. Nothing against that. It's just what everybody does. So I haven't really found one that fits that mold for me. If you guys know someone, let me know. Be happy to have them on. But we may just do an open call for Cal fans tomorrow and go from there. Cody's asking, what do you see out of California Auburn game, Kyle? I don't want to get too much into the weeds on that because we'll be discussing that a lot tomorrow on our live stream. But I've said this on a few other live streams previously that I do think this is going to be a very close game. I think Auburn will win in a very, very close squeaker of a game. I don't feel it's going to be like a field goal to win the game or something like that. I think it'll be like Auburn has the lead and has to make a big play on defense to win it. So, that could vary from a touchdown win to a 1-point win. Either one would be a super close victory in my eyes. Yeah, I look, we can go back and forth about that all day. I think the evidence of that is pretty clear right now. Kyle, can you get Aaron Rodgers on? He's a Cal grad. Here's the funny thing, Neil. I know you're being funny, but at the same time, I don't know that Aaron Rodgers would be the hardest NFL quarterback to get to appear on a small-time podcast like ours. He seems like one of those guys that if you just catch him on the right day and he actually does check his DMs or whatever, he might actually say, "What the heck? I don't got practice tonight, or I don't need to study film tonight. Let me just pop in on him." So, not that I think I would want Aaron Rodgers on, because I have a history of being a Packers fan. I am not a big NFL fan at all, but I have a long time history amongst my family members of being associated with the Packers. And when you leave the Packers, that kind of hurts a little bit. So, and this one, just like Brett Favre, went to the Jets. Go figure. But either way, it wouldn't shock me if he were to say yes to something like that. Yeah, I figured that would ring true with you, Neil. I remember you were a Packer fan. What do you think about the trash talking coming out of California? Somebody already asked this, but not surprised that someone wants to get up for a game. Here's the thing. If someone's not talking at you, that means you're not a threat. That means you're not a worthy opponent, a worthy victory potentially for them. So I take that as a badge of honor, that if they're trash talking, then they see this as a win that means something to them, and thus that's a place of honor for us in my eyes. All right, we got our first caller tonight, so let's go ahead and pop in and say hello to him. You know him, you love him. Let's see if he's ready. I hope he is. Mr. Kevin, what's going on?
War Eagle, sorry about Saturday. We couldn't go.
You didn't go to the game at all?
No.
Why not? I thought you had tickets.
I did, but my sister only have one car.
Well, that'll do it right there. If you don't have a car situation lined up, but sad that we didn't get to say hello.
Yeah, I think the offense looked good.
You think so? Who stuck out to you the most on the offense?
Robbie Ashford.
I bet he did. I was thinking about the second touchdown. I was like, I know one Auburn fan who is super excited about how Robbie Ashford is doing in this game. So I knew you would love that.
I think Peyton Thorne is a good quarterback too.
How'd you like that touchdown pass that he threw to Jay Fair? That was a pretty thing, wasn't it?
Hey, where's Jay Fair came from?
I actually can't remember exactly where he came from high school wise, but he was part of the first class for Harsin, second class.
I like that pass. Peyton Thorne hit Javoris Johnson.
Yep, it wasn't just the Jay Fair thing. Peyton had a few good throws, and I think showed why he is the number one choice for Hugh Freeze as the starting quarterback. Again, even in his press conference today, said Robbie's going to play, Robbie's going to play, Robbie's going to play. And we know that means a lot of running for him, but he let him throw the ball too. So looks like we've got a very well-established relationship and scheme.
Hey, did you say something on Sunday? He said, I did not see Kevin at the.
I did. I think I said that. Somebody asked in the chat when we were live after the game, and they said, "Did you see Kevin?" I was like, "No, I didn't see Kevin." So yes, you did get talked about.
Hey, hopefully we get to go to Auburn, Georgia, because I found 2 tickets on not on StubHub, on
SeatGeek. SeatGeek. It's the new thing that Auburn uses. Yes,
like $123 each
for one ticket each. So like for each ticket, it was
for 2 tickets.
$120 for 2 tickets.
Yeah, $123
each. Okay, so yeah, that's about where I think they would be. You know, I'll be honest with you. There's a part of me that wants to sell that ticket to make some money back, but I also want to be at that game. So I don't know that that's going to happen. But if I was ever hurting for money, that'd be the one I'd sell.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get to see each other.
Yeah.
So will you be at the homecoming game?
No. What time is that?
It's 7:00 at night. It's going to be a long, fun day on campus. We got excuse me. It's 6:00 Central Time, 7 Eastern. I'm in Eastern.
Probably get tickets for that too.
Well, those were sold out pretty early, along with some of the bigger games. Everybody loves homecoming weekend, so those usually, even though it's usually a rinky-dink opponent, but those go fast.
Do they still have those scalpers down there?
Yeah, but I'd be very careful with those these days, because now that the tickets are digital, I don't know how they're functioning in a world without, with the whole digital thing. There's very few paper tickets anymore, so I'd be very careful buying those.
Hey, you think Jaquez Hunter get to play this week?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm surprised it hasn't been answered or asked yet. I think he.
You Freeze should let him play.
Well, but if he's still, he reportedly did something wrong, and
Yeah.
there's consequences for that. And if this is part of the punishment, then it's part of the punishment. I've prepared myself for him not to travel, which means he wouldn't play. But I don't know. There's no information that I have that tells me that. That is just pure
I bet
speculation.
he will travel with us with a football
It'd be
team.
nice to see him out there, but to me, it's a reward to go on a trip like this, a special trip. So if they deem that was part of his punishment, then you don't want to give him the reward for
Hey,
doing that.
how are all the Auburn football players and coaches and all them get to California?
They're flying, and they're flying out tomorrow mid-afternoon, I think is what Coach Freeze said today on the press conference, and they will arrive, about the same time because of the time change when they land.
I know Austin Keys is out.
He's out for a while. That's a big loss for Auburn. We'll talk about that a little bit on a short tomorrow too. I already got that ready for you guys. So big loss.
How about Robert Woodard? Will you see him play?
Yeah, look. So Demario Talon's gone. Austin Keys is gone for a while, at least. If there's two spots that are wide open for someone to, to find some playing time. We've got some other good guys, but yes, I think Robert Woodard just found himself in an opportunity to play more.
Where's Wesley Steiner at?
Well, he played last game, and he'll play a lot more. I think you're going to see a lot of linebackers now trying to figure out who is going to be the guys now that you've lost two of the guys on the season. So I got time for one more question. What you got?
I think we will win 30-20 over California.
30-20. Well, I was going to ask your final prediction, so I'm glad that you got that in. 30 what was it again?
30-20.
30-20. We're going to mark it down, and we'll talk about that prediction next week and see if you're right. So, yeah. Kevin, always good to hear from you, buddy, and hopefully we'll see you at a home game soon.
Our basketball team supposed to be good too.
They are, absolutely, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot in the upcoming weeks. All right, buddy, you have a great night.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Bye.
All right, you guys can call in too, just like Kevin did. Kind of gets everything warmed up for everybody, all the good vibes around. So go ahead and use that link up at the top of the chat here on YouTube. It's not available on Facebook. If you are on Facebook watching and you want to call in, just slide on it. It's like sliding in a DM. Slide on over here to YouTube, hit the link. You can be on camera. You can be off camera. It doesn't matter. We just want to hear from you. Joseph says, someone on social media said he is listed on the travel roster this weekend, because that's always the definitive source. I'm just messing with you, Joseph. Look, usually when we get nuggets like that, and and not just you specific, Joseph, but even I make the statement, someone said on social media, it's that game of telephone. Did that actually happen, or is that just someone speculating and it get misinterpreted and And look, here, if he travels, he better play. That's all I'm going to say, because the whole point of taking up a roster spot on the travel roster is to play. And if he's not going to play, that means he's still having to face the consequences of whatever happened. So he shouldn't be on the travel roster. That's just my interpretation of it. I'm not the coach. I don't make the final decisions on those things, but that's how I would have handled the situation. I named the source. So you understand. Yeah, look, sources can be, even really good sources can be wrong too sometimes. We've had that happen a few occasions with us. So hopefully we are talking about Jarquez in this game. I do think having him in a game like this would be super advantageous, given the fact that I think we will also need to establish a very steady run game to control this outcome scoring, if you will. Because if you look at the way both offenses performed against smaller opponents, boy, does it look like this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I forget what the over-under was set at. I think it was like 52 points or something. For those of you that understand what that means, it's like people are betting on whether both teams combined would score more than 52 or whatever number it was or less. And that's when they say, well, you take the over or the under. I would take the over. Because think about it, if let's just say it's 52 is the over under. That means both teams score 26 points. That's easy. Like, I mean, that's going to happen. 55. Thank you, Stan. I knew somebody would clarify. Sharon on Facebook enjoying the show. Thank you so much for those kind words. Always appreciate hearing that feedback. Anytime you guys want to drop that encouragement in there, please do. But obviously, if you have, feedback in any way, that even if it's a little like constructive critique, let me know. If it's something that's probably like super serious, shoot me a DM or email directly, and we can talk about it that way. But always happy to hear what you guys want, what you guys like, what you don't like. But thank you for those kind words. So what else? What else is on y'all's mind tonight? I know, not trying to like hold a lot of the commentary, a whole lot because I do want us to have some stuff to talk about tomorrow night on our preview show. But what else are you thinking about this game? What's sticking out to you? What are you concerned about? This will help inform some of our conversations tomorrow. And remember, we'll kind of go through that prediction layout that I have every night, kind of walk through like predict this, predict that. And it'll help us all get to maybe like a more informed discussion on what the score actually might be at the end of this thing. Take Auburn and the over. I think taking the over is pretty easy. I think Auburn is still the solid choice there. If you look at some of the other sites, they'll have like the fan prediction is like 55 to 45 Cal, which I would understand. You know, this is an Auburn team that trying to find itself again. Auburn is -7 on that, but I was talking about the fan sites a second ago. I understand the perception being from the general fan masses that Cal would win this game because it's at home. Auburn's trying to find itself again. Yeah, so you could see why that would be, but looks like most of the time Auburn is going to be favored in matchups like this. Excited to listen to Andy and Jason again. They did great last game. I didn't get a chance, obviously because I was at the game, to listen to that a whole lot, but I went back and listened to I went back. They do their YouTube broadcast, so you can like just turn on YouTube and listen that way, really watch how they're interacting with each other, which was really entertaining. I liked what I saw. It's going to take some getting used to not have Stan White there as the secondary analyst, but Jason is who he is. He is Auburn royalty. He means so much to this Auburn family that even any shortcomings that he might have in that role, if there are any, would be easily forgiven because how much he's cared for by this fan base. 38-24. Well, let's see if that changes tomorrow night, Stan, if you're able to join us for tomorrow night's stream. Yeah, but that to me, I look at that prediction and that's a little bit too wide of a margin for me to feel comfortable with right now. I would love that victory margin there, but I just don't think that's going to happen. If you remember, and I'm not just trying to say this to toot my own horn, but I wasn't too far off with some outside of the score prediction I had for the UMass game. I wasn't too far off with some of the other predictions that I made on that stream. So we'll see if I'm on a hot streak and can keep that going in the preview game tomorrow. Whoops, knock that around. All right, call in if you'd like to. Don't be shy. Don't bite too hard. We'd love to hear some of your voices, see some of your smiling faces if you want to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera, but that is an option. What else have you been thinking about this week? Obviously, the big news today, Austin Keys is out. As I told Kevin when he was live with us, that I have a little short coming out about talking about, the team who's left at that position. But it was definitely a group where there were some question marks, and now there are a lot more question marks given the nature of Austin Keys not being there. Apparently he had a thumb injury. I don't know which thumb it was, but I wonder if it was like hyperextended or broken to the point where he had to have that surgery. I don't know to what extent it had to be hyperextended to have surgery, but I would imagine breaking it obviously means surgery. Now, I have known players to go out there with a cast and play with a cast on still with like a broken thumb or something like that. But I would bet with a guy with his future, probably he and the staff are wanting to take care of him, make sure that injury doesn't get any worse. Stan says linebacker play not great. So what do you mean by that, Stan? Let me give me some like facts behind that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I see this a lot, and nobody clarifies that to me. What does that mean? Was it the explosive plays? Was it what do you mean by linebacker play wasn't great? Because I think, as Hugh Free says, it wasn't really one position group. It was the entire front seven. What was it about the linebacker play that you did not like specifically? Noah's here. Good to see you, Noah. Thanks for checking in with us. The weak link on defense, but give me more specifics. Like, it's easy to say weak link, but what does that mean? What specifically are they not doing that makes them? I know I'm kind of focusing on you, Stan, but you've brought the topic to the table, so I'm kind of going in on that. Out of position, not being in the gas. There we go. Okay. Well, that is definitely something that, I will probably, because I want to see what you guys are seeing. Not saying I didn't see any of that, but I'm going to be looking for. And here's the other thing too. Do we know for a fact that they were out of position? Because we don't know what the scheme actually is because we're not on the team. But either way, Coach Freeze says there was a lot of room for improvement on the front seven. And I think that lines up with what you were saying. He did, and that's a good point. He did mention being misaligned a lot. Said the defense was misaligned 15 times against UMass. How does that happen? It's first game. That's how it happens. It's really as simple as that. Not only is it a first game, this is the first year all of these people are together, coaches, staff, players. This is the first year of, just think about the transfer situation. All these new faces, all these new people trying to figure out communication styles, learning styles. How do you, kind of like Coach was saying during his press conference, I give them tough love, but also you have to kind of know who and how to give that to. So all of that's at play here. Neil says front line was gashed a few times by UMass running backs. Seemed like they were not lined up correctly. And there was that one play, I forget who it was, that got just absolutely juked out of his shoes. I saw it was on the opposite side of the field for me, but I remember he cut and the guy had to like turn around just to get in a position to run after him. It was pretty bad. The big runs, linebackers were not in the gap. Yeah, see, that's what I would say stuck out to me, and that's just as much on the defensive line as it is the linebackers, the front seven, as Coach talked about it, those big explosive plays that were allowed. But to me, see, I wasn't shocked by those because I understand the context of it being the first game. Noah says defensive line needs practice. Cal's on a whole another level. It's this interesting dynamic with Cal because you want to give them the respect. They're Power 5 for now. With that whole Pac-12 situation, and will the ACC, which they're reportedly going to still be considered power whatever at the end of all this realignment stuff. But at the same token, we don't know how good or bad they truly are either. Yeah, they put up a lot of points versus North Texas. You could also say it the opposite way. Yeah, Auburn put up a lot of points against UMass. Big whoop. That's what you're supposed to do. The only time that you're reacting to something different is if you're pulling a Georgia State like we did and barely squeaking out a win. To me, we both did what we were supposed to do and probably didn't look all that great. I think look all that great in terms of like being as perfect as you would want to be against a team like that. I think one thing that Auburn's got in its favor is the question mark around their starting quarterback, although their backup did pretty good too. So, you wonder if that is going to be a detriment to them or not. Anytime your starter is out, I would say that's probably working in your favor. But then you've got like situations like Stetson Bennett, the backup comes in and he's like dominant. Who knows, right? But like, how do the players not know where to line up? Don't they all have a spot? Maybe they need marks on the field. I know you're kidding, but let me answer the question. So, because you're taught for a specific situation that they think that they're going to see, and they're taught how to adjust to that. But sometimes it's first game, new wrinkles are thrown in that they weren't seen, and there's confusion. And it's the first game, all of that. So they may have been aligned for what they thought that they were going to see, but then they threw a wrinkle in, that being the offense. And then thus you have misalignment. That's just me interpreting it and stuff. Could be wrong. D-line eats up blocks. Linebackers make tackles. I disagree with you on that. That's not holistically what they do. The D-line makes tackles too and makes plays. In fact, I would say they're just as much important in that tackling of that running game. How many times did we see Nick Fairley bust through there and trip up a runner and even keep them from getting to the second level? Second level being the linebackers. So I understand what you're saying there, but it's not as simple as that. Yes, the D-line is the first line of defense, and their usual job is to take on those blocks and create havoc for the running lanes for which the linebackers fill up. But it's not as simple as that. So it's not all on the linebackers. I think that's what I'm trying to get across here is it is the front seven. Even coach said that. Noah brings up, I'm surprised no one else has talked about this yet. Much as everybody loves recruiting, how do y'all feel about that offensive lineman that we got from Cal? DeAndre Carter, he like left us waiting forever for that. Part of me wonders when a kid waits, you pretty much know he's going to commit, and he waits that long. Sometimes it's because they want to do it with a special day, like Jacaleb Falk, or who was it that did it on their mom's birthday? I think it was Falk. Anyway, like something like that, or they want to do it all on the same day with their teammates out of high school. All of that, you understand. But DeAndre just like waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And we're all sitting there waiting because we needed kind of him to make us feel better about the offensive line situation. Finally, he's here. And on top of that, we got one for 2025 too. So very happy about all that. Yeah, obviously, I think studying football can make the game more valuable to you in terms of understanding what's going on and stuff like that. But I wouldn't worry about it all that much. Just enjoy the game for what it is my advice. Talked about this a little bit already, Noah. Nobody knows that. I think Stan, or who was it earlier that said, I don't think it was Stan, actually. Joseph said earlier that there was a rumor on social media that he was part of the travel roster. I don't know that anybody actually knows the travel roster other than the team. Now, unless one of the team members leaked it, or a staff member or a source leaked it. This is what I've been trying to get everybody prepared for. I would prepare for Jarquez Hunter to not even be there. That is not me saying I know anything. That is not me trying to insinuate anything. I'm just preparing ourselves for Jarquez not to be there / be used. Did people miss how slow the so-called powerhouse team started, or was I just seeing stuff? Give me some context, Ruga. What are you talking about? Are you referring to a team in specific? If you're just talking about like general powerhouses, Alabama, Georgia, all that, I mean, I would say that anybody started slow this week. It's first week. And most teams that played rinky-dink teams handled their business with a few hiccups, kind of like Auburn did. Thomas and Big Simp in the house saying go Longhorns this week. Big matchup there with big implications for the year. We've had some pretty decent marquee matchups in the early weeks here with the whole LSU Florida State thing, the big upset of Duke and Clemson. I will tell you this. Ironically enough, I stayed with some family this weekend in Auburn, and we stayed up and watched the Wyoming game versus Texas Tech. Wyoming in 2 overtimes ended up upsetting Texas Tech, and that was fun. There was some surprisingly good football if you'll just watch some other things, even besides the marquee games. I mean, that was a big upset for Wyoming. They're not a powerhouse program. So we're all doing the hook 'em, not the hook 'em. Is that what it is? Oh, I'm gonna get fined. I hope we don't do this like a lot. Somebody's gonna do it in our fan base, but like that's so stupid. It's stupid that Texas gets mad about it and people were getting fined for it, and it's stupid that people even do it. Like that's like the weakest little like slap in someone's face that you could possibly do. That's just weird. Yeah, I think I mentioned that the Duke upset was pretty awesome. Noah says that Alston has improved. He got a lot of rushing yards, so he will probably start if Jarquez isn't there. Yes. And even maybe if Jarquez is there and plays, he might start too. Look, here's the thing that you should take away from this last game. Auburn's running back room is solid. And when I say that, it is more than just them being solid. They have to have the support. They got to have gaps created for them, which we saw them do against UMass. But Damari, it looks like our solid guy there alongside Jarquez. You saw what Jeremiah can do. You saw what Sean Jackson can do. Brian Battie, you saw what he can do. I mean, we are very blessed with a great running back room, and a lot of those guys kind of passed over. I mean, to be honest with you, the highest ranked one or highest perceived one coming in was probably Jeremiah Cobb. And he's a freshman, and he's probably not going to play a whole lot outside those 4 games that he gets. So just keep that in mind. You were talking about Alabama and Georgia struggling. Thought it was somewhat different for us. I could see why you would see that, because we all have this perception of Alabama and Georgia and where they're supposedly at, and this perception of where Auburn supposedly is at. One looked better given. I could see how you see that, but I also think, Rugen, I'm assuming you're an Auburn fan. You said us, so we are a little biased in our opinions of that. I wouldn't get too excited about any first week struggles for anybody. I wouldn't get too excited about any successes for us or anybody else. It's like everybody is saying this Colorado thing is a surefire win now because they beat TCU. I think we realized TCU wasn't as legit as we thought they were last year. Big Simp, Dabo, if he stays true to his dumbness and refuses to use the portal, he'll be an announcer next year. You know, there is using the portal just to use the portal and using it because you would truly gain something from it. Look, none of us are experts here on Clemson. We don't know what the roster looked like, what they needed, and it may have been that the high schoolers filled the needs that they currently have. The great thing about Clemson, even though they've maybe taken a slide back from where they've been of recent, is they built a pretty solidly depth-built program for a while now. And so they can do things like that. Auburn hasn't. Auburn's got to fill with the transfer portal. So it's kind of this like yin and yang of, yeah, maybe the transfer portal would help them. But to me, I don't know, Big Simp, this is just my opinion. I think that's a storyline that's getting pushed just because it's easy fodder to explain why Dabo lost to Duke. I think Duke's just better than we gave them credit for, and Clemson just this year isn't as good as we thought in one game. Yeah, how about our former quarterbacks, Bo and TJ? Look, Bo and TJ's situations are much different. Bo is a far better quarterback than TJ. I remember the day when people would call on this show and argue that with me. But I'm happy that they are having success. Anybody that leaves, here's the thing. TJ Finley left us as a graduate, and that is very honorable. Someone who valued the education from Auburn to, even though they were going to go continue to play college ball somewhere else, graduated from Auburn. So he will always hold that special place in our family, despite what ups and downs he had with us. So I do give him props for that, in the very least. And I'm happy that so far in game one, he's had success. Let's see how the rest of the season goes. Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit. If he makes the trip, he will definitely present a humongous challenge. It would be nice to see juxtaposed to each other their running back and Jarquez. I think that would be a great running back show, and you truly would get the over on the score thing. Will we see a lot of Cobb this weekend? That's a great question, Stan. Jeremiah didn't come in until about the mid-endish of the third quarter. My guess is, barring an injury, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to operate off of the assumption that Jarquez is not going to be there, just because that's all we know right now. That he didn't play in the first game, so we need to assume that he's not going to be there for now. So Damari is your starter, Brian Batiste your backup. That means Jeremiah Cobb falls into that 3 slot. That would set him up, especially in certain situations, if they want 2 running backs out there, to get some playing time. However, I don't know what he would be like in that type of environment. Playing in your home stadium with the crowd behind you is much different than playing in a different stadium hundreds of miles across the country at that time of night. So to me, it's a toss-up. The situation may call for him to get a few snaps. If we're up big, yes, but I don't think that's happening. I think Auburn's going to really have to fight for this win. Yeah, I agree with Stan here too about Bama and Georgia having new quarterbacks, and they will return to form at some point. I do hope what Noah's saying here. I do hope that we get to see Peyton sling it around a little bit more successfully, not just sling it around for the sake of slinging it around. But yeah, John, what's going on, sir? Thanks for being here. Let's see here. Dabo's made a good stand against the portal, and clearly he needs some help, or his coaching has become like Gus. Everyone has caught up with his tricks. Yeah, I would say I disagree with the whole Gus take a little bit, but I'm not going to go into that tonight. Look, time will prove if Dabo maintains this aversion to using the transfer portal. I mean, frankly, I'll be honest with you, Big Sam. If I was a coach, to me, if I'm having to use the portal a whole lot, that shows me that I had a lot to fix. And sometimes that results in some really quick and very nice results. If the transfer portal kind of helps you flip the script, if I may take a page from our head coach, very quickly. For Auburn, it makes sense. It may not have made sense for Clemson. One game is, I think, too quick to be saying that his aversion to that is what cost him. Let's see how this season goes, and then we'll know that a little bit better. So you and I put a big pin in this one, Big Sip, and let's visit this in like 5 games, halfway through the season, because they'll play Florida State by then, I think. Maybe. Let's see how they look against Florida State. I think Alston and Battie and Ashford show this Saturday. As much as I want Hunter to play, there's no reason we need to worry about the rushing attack with those guys. And so that's a great point. Even when I was sitting there naming off our running game and who we can be happy about that we have, I wasn't even factoring in Robbie. Robbie is an element to this rushing attack that is hard to defend. You can account for it. You can plan for it. It is hard to match his athleticism. And that is why Hugh Freeze has been adamant that Robbie will be used. Robbie will play. and he is an integral part of this team, and I love that. How about both quarterbacks on the field at the same time? Ooh. Listen, I think I would be stupid to assume they haven't looked at something like that, or maybe even put a set in at practice just in case. They do a lot of time this wildcat set where the quarterback goes out as a wide receiver, the true quarterback, and you'll have someone with the capabilities as the wildcat quarterback who's probably going to run it or hand it off, but could sling it. And I could see a nice little flea flicker, reverse flea flicker situation being thrown with Peyton being wide out, running back towards after the snap, being flipped back to him on a I guess it would be a lateral, and then throwing it down the field. That could present some challenges for them. I would say I understand being concerned about the defense given the first game. Obviously, Hugh is a little, was very constructively critical of that in his review all this week leading up to the game. But the other thing is this too, what you pointed out here on Beaten Lake, is the time of the game and the travel situation. The more I hear Hugh talk about it, the more I realize he's worried about it too. So that I think is, I even said that leading up to the game, how much that was going to play a factor into the success or failure of this team. And now I'm realizing, boy, I was discrediting that even a little bit for myself. So we'll come back to that. Got a few more comments and questions here we'll come back to, but we got our next caller on the line. So let's say hello from the kitchen, Miss Devin. Not in the kitchen. But...
Not in the kitchen. Not this time.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Excited for this weekend, obviously. I mean, look, it's already week 2. It's going by too fast.
I know. I can't believe it. I told my brother I was going to make sausage balls for the game. He was like, "Oh, I might have to come down."
Ooh, I got sausage balls in the fridge actually right now.
Nice.
That Jessica made this weekend, so I came back home to the sweetness of sausage balls.
Nice.
That's football type stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Be careful, you're gonna make me hungry. I already ate dinner, but I'm gonna have to eat again after that. What's under your mind?
Okay, so this Cal, the running back for Cal, he said, I'm not gonna quote it exactly because I don't remember exactly what it was, but he said, "I keep hearing focus on the name Auburn, and from what I've seen in the film, it doesn't really live up to the name," or he's something like that, and he's like, "I just tell my guys, the name doesn't mean anything." I'm like, oh. Like, okay.
It is one thing for an Alabama to say stuff like that. You've got some clout. It would be if this was USC, they would have a little bit more clout too, and they've even kind of fallen off too. I would say Oregon could probably talk a little bit about that, even though they've never beaten Auburn. Washington hasn't beaten Auburn, but they played them well, and so that's. But Cal, who's never played. He was the last time that I remember Cal being good was when USC was good, and I think they either beat them or almost beat them, and they had gotten up to number 4, and they had to beat USC to get to the championship game, and they weren't able to do that. But that was 20 years ago. At this point.
It's been a minute. So Cal's they're like the laughing stock of the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 is the laughing stock of the college football. So
who do you think's worse, Stanford or Cal?
Oh, Stanford. Stanford for sure.
Didn't even hesitate on that one.
These days, I mean, Cal, it's been. I feel like it's been longer since Cal was good. Stanford was good not too long ago.
Right. What was his name?
Christian McCaffrey.
The coach, but yes, they had Christian McCaffrey. Oh. They also had they had 2 really good running backs that got gypped from the Heisman by a Bama running back each time. Derrick Henry, I won't argue anymore, deserved it. But Mark Ingram, what was his name? I can't remember it now, but Mark Ingram did not deserve the Heisman over that Stanford running back. When the Heisman's supposed to be it's supposed to be an all-encompassing athletics and student athlete thing. That guy should have gotten it. His numbers were way better than Mark Ingram's. The only reason that they gave that to him is because Alabama had never had one to that point, and it was the closest they had ever gotten. You're never going to be able to convince me of that.
Yeah, it's my dad has always said it's lost its meaning somewhat. It's just become a popularity contest somewhat.
That coach was David Shaw. I don't think he's there anymore.
He's still there.
Oh, he is? Okay. Well, that's it's surprising that they've fallen off that well.
I know. I know. It's been a long time. I'm just like, maybe it's time to hire someone else, but I mean, maybe they just don't care. I don't know.
There it is. There's the name, Toby Gerhar. I remember this now.
And
I think it's spelled actually Gebhr. I think it's got a B in there. So I always only wanted to call him Gerbhart, but it's Gerhar. That's how you say that. But yeah, that was a good running back too. I mean, he was outstanding. And I think he had like a short, really successful run in the NFL too. Obviously Mark Ingram did too, but
yeah.
Anyway, this is not the Mark Ingram Alabama running back show. But yeah, if they're talking trash, keep it up.
I know it's been interesting. Underneath it, because Jake Crane posted that, or retweeted or something, and so I commented. I was like, "That's it, Auburn by 90." And then some Cal fan was like, he said like 90 pounds a person, and I'm like, "What the frick does that mean? Like, what the heck does that mean? Like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean."
Listen, they have not had many opportunities to talk trash.
I know.
So they're going to be a little bit rough around the edges.
I guess so.
Listen,
I guess so.
When you live in the Iron Bowl rivalry, you talk trash nonstop. So it's just kind of, we're used to it. Let's give them a little bit of leniency. They're little babies when it comes to talking trash about being relevant to college football. Has Auburn been down for the last 2 years? Sure. I'll admit that every day and twice on Sunday. But my gosh, my history is a little bit better than yours. I mean, wasn't it Cal that lost the game, the whole bands on the field game, or was it Stanford that lost the game? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
It was that whole game where the band's on the field, it was considered one of the greatest finishes to college football.
Oh yeah. I don't remember. I can't remember who won.
It's those two teams obviously were in it, but I can't remember who was the losing end of that one.
Yeah. And what some people said about the running back's comments, not to say he doesn't have a point, because we haven't been great the last 2 years, but you don't come out and say that kind of, like, that's just, that's bulletin board material, as they call it. You just don't say that kind of stuff.
The worst thing that you can do to a sleeping giant like Auburn is awaken it. And does this awaken it? Maybe, maybe not, but I wouldn't run that risk, because history has dictated that Auburn, with the right coach, the right fit all the way around, the right alignment, is a dangerous thing. And that is not something that I would be toying with if I was a Cal running back. But look, he apparently is a pretty great running back. And if he will go out there and back up that talk, all the respect to him. I'm fine with people talking as long as you back it up, but don't be afraid when we come right back at you.
Exactly.
After the fact. So
yeah. I appreciated Hugh's honesty about how he was dreading going across country to play, because I agree. I think that's why it was such a mistake for these schools to change conferences and stuff. It's just horrible for the student athletes and the staff.
It's all about money.
I know.
And those are TV markets, which, listen, if Auburn hadn't pulled in Texas and Oklahoma, they'd also be probably trying to do what the ACC is doing, what the Big Ten is doing, trying to get another market. But they've kept themselves contiguous, and they have stretched about as far as you can and still have a grasp out there into the West Coast a little bit. Oklahoma and Texas will get you as far as you can, basically to the mountains.
Yeah.
It's big enough for them. I have the feeling that once the dust settles on all of this realignment, for now, it'll stir back up again. We're going to see something else happen within all of that realignment. And what I mean by that is about what you said about the travel situations.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're not going to see a lot more regional play outside of conference. Like less conference games in some of these sports and more regional play to account for that. I don't know. It's going to present a problem,
Yep.
If you're making more money as a conference and can support the travel for that, then by all means.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful that the SEC, even though it is pretty spread out now at this point, has kept itself a little bit more contiguous.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it won't be a blowout like some Auburn fans are thinking it will be. I think
there
we'll
really
win.
Auburn fans thinking it's going to be a blowout? Is there really Auburn fans thinking it's going to be a blowout?
Oh yeah. Score predictions like 52-17, 45, 10. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm just like, y'all, no, it's not going to be a blowout. I think we will win. I think we'll cover the spread.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a lot more of a game than people think it's going to be.
It's going to be. I've already said this a lot, but just my prediction tomorrow night will be very close.
Yeah.
I would consider 7 to a touchdown would still be close, but I'm not saying that's where I'm going to put it. But if they can score and win in one blow, that's a close game.
Yeah.
Way too
close.
I mean,
they played UW pretty close last year. We only won by a touchdown.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it's gonna be interesting staying up this late to watch this game.
Yeah.
If I'm still in Eastern time zone when I'm watching it, we'll be doing a real late stream. I mean, it'll be late stream regardless.
Yeah, but that's gonna be so late for you.
Nothing beats though that I don't know. It was 2:30 stream for the Auburn Oregon State baseball.
Oh, that was so fun. Yeah, that was fun.
I cannot believe the people that stayed up to watch that thing. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, Devin, it's always great to hear from you, even if it's not from the kitchen. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
All right. We've got a few more minutes of the phone line being open. Do not hesitate. You can take a look at the top. Well, I guess it's over here technically. Top of the chat up there on YouTube should be the link for the description. Click it. You don't have to be on camera like Devin and Kevin have been tonight, but you can be. It can just be you and your name, not your face. I know that's a little intimidating sometimes. Literally like 4 minutes left of probably those phone lines being open, so don't hesitate. Get it in now. We will be back tomorrow night to discuss more of this, but I want you guys to have an opportunity to call in if you'd like to. What's up, Clell? Good to see you. Hanging out with us tonight. Let's see here. Stan says 10 to 14 point game. Like, see, I'm fine with that margin of victory if that's what you're predicting. That's not a blowout to me. A blowout is past that. But if there's Auburn fans saying this is going to be a blowout, I mean, I'm hoping for that. Don't get me wrong. I would not be putting that energy out there right now. Not while this team is still trying to find its foundation. How about Gunnar Brenton playing 2 spots in the O-line against UMass? I thought it was 3. Thomas, was it not 3? I thought he played, was it 2 guard spots and the tackle spot, or 2 tackles and 1 guard? Maybe I heard wrong, but I thought it was 3. Either way, that's what got him the offensive lineman of the week honor. So, or the grade, I think is what a PFF. I know that made you happy, Thomas. Let's see. Yeah, good to see you too, Clell. Hope you can come by a little bit more often when you have time to. It's always good to see you here. Oh, Devin, this is so good. I didn't listen. I'm not observant. She says, I got on camera with no makeup. Everybody else can do it. Amen. Look at me. I got no makeup on. Everybody has to see this ugly mug every time I put the camera on. Robbie, I'm trying to get the gist of your comments. A little bit long for a live stream. So if you got like excited to see the scheme of the quarterback running back score. Okay, I got a little bit there. But yeah, if you want me to hit one specific part there, maybe give me a little smaller version of that. WT says one of the nicest things about last weekend was that we finally blew out a team we were supposed to in Auburn. It felt good. Amen. Amen. All right. We do have our next caller in, so let's go ahead and get him in with the time we have left. You know him, you love him. Mr. Thomas, what's up, sir?
War Eagle, everybody. How are y'all this evening?
I'm doing well. I'm assuming they're doing well. How about your boy Gunnar Britton?
Hey, big. That was beautiful, man. So what? So you're telling me an offensive lineman from Auburn got the SEC player offensive lineman of the week?
No, we heard that wrong. We heard that wrong. No, that didn't happen.
Look, I'll take that lie right now. Shoot, that's awesome.
As something we have not heard in quite some time. And, we've talked about previously, there have been some bright individual spots, even amongst the dark ages of offensive lineman play that have been over the last few seasons. But, as a collective, not cutting it in any way. But it's nice to see that someone we thought was going to be an integral part of the offensive line play is getting his rewards.
Absolutely. But kind of want to talk about defense a little bit tonight, kind of flip it over a little bit.
What's surprising is that has been more of the topic than I thought would be after this first week. And I think there's a good reason why.
Yeah. They ran for 118 yards on us in the first half. UMass ran for 118 yards on us in the first half. Now they had 140 total by the end of the game, so they got some things fixed, but still, I think that would have been a much bigger number had their quarterback not got hurt, because he had both legs bandaged up after that first drive.
Yep.
He busted a run for like 56 yards on our starting D, like right there at the beginning. It's the first drive of the year. It's a new defensive scheme. I get that, but dadgummit, it's UMass. He might be good, but he can't be that much better than us. But that was kind of aggravating in the first half. I am not going to lie.
Yeah, when I was sitting in the stadium, you could hear the collective like groan beginning, like, "Oh no, this isn't going to happen again." Is this? Everybody's so gun shy after Georgia State. Some little team comes in and we're like, "Please, just give us more than a 10-point lead, just please."
Yeah, and just like seeing like him take off down the field and nobody could get nobody was in a good position to tackle him. Their angles were not where they needed to be. And my first thought was, it looked like Ole Miss gashing us last year, and I was about to throw up. I really was.
Yeah. So the adjustments, though, those were big.
Yeah. But, Cal, I think they're going to score points on us. Just they do have a decent offense. They had 669 yards of total offense last week. Mm-hmm. And again, they were playing North Texas, but they were on the road. And it's a team that was deemed to not be very good in Cal or North Texas, but still 669 yards of offense is a lot. Plus their quarterback went down. They had more than one running back playing. They've got a chance to put a lot of points on us, and I don't like it.
Well, and what I think everybody needs to be thinking about for the narrative of this game is which defense stops the other. Like we know Auburn can score. We know Cal can score, obviously, against two smaller opponents, but you just kind of have to assume that their offenses, you don't do those type of numbers on both sides if you're not a proficient offense, at least foundationally. So really it is whose defense is for real.
Yeah.
You kind of would assume that the SEC caliber players are going to probably be a little bit more. That's a safe assumption. We will find out when that ball gets kicked off, and we figure out how good their offense is against our defense.
Yep, that's really, I think that's the key to the game. I don't think we're going to have a problem rushing the ball. I don't think we're going to have much of a problem throwing the ball. I'd like to see more than 140-something passing yards that we had. Realistically, I'd like for us to throw for 235 to 250, and I think we need to run for well over 200. We ran for 289, but we were just running all over them. But if we can pass for 250 and run for 250, I'm comfortable offensively, but I think we got to limit them to less than 400 yards total. I really do. I'd say a final score, probably Cal 31, Auburn 42, just to cover. And I think we're going to have to score that many points to beat them.
Yeah, I think a shootout is in the works here. I'm hoping that the shootout doesn't last as long as I think it might. I think the longer the shootout happens in the game, the more it favors Cal being at home. Auburn has to find a way to create some separation. Remember that Auburn versus Missouri game in the SEC championship in 2013? It was a true shootout. They score, we score. They score, we score. Maybe we missed one time, they would score, but then we'd find our way back. And it was just finally Auburn, though, started squeaking away with a little bit of extra room. We have got to find a way to do that with their home field advantage and their propensity to score.
Yeah, if we can go up 2 scores in the first 7-8 minutes of the fourth quarter, I'm going to get real comfortable real quick, even though there's time left. But with the way the new clock rules are, when you get to the fourth quarter, you would used to rely on getting the first down to stop the clock, and now you can't. So I think if we're up by 14 and we'll give them a field goal late in the fourth, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad.
You gave us your score prediction, so I'm going to ask you a final other prediction. Yes or no, does Jarquez Hunter play?
And no, if he doesn't play this week, and I don't think he does, I don't think we see him till Texas A&M.
Okay, it's fair. It's fair. So we'll find out whether your score prediction, your prediction about Jarquez is true in a little bit of time. And of course, we'll be back here. Hopefully you and I are talking about another offensive lineman getting some accolades this time next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that.
It'd be nice, a little trend to begin here at Auburn for offensive line play. Thomas, always good to hear from you, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Y'all have a good night. War Eagle.
War Eagle, buddy. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for calling in tonight. Stick around for just a second here. We're going to go ahead and close the phone line for everybody, but I want to give you guys the lowdown on what to expect for the rest of the week, essentially. Let me go ahead and say this at the start. I've kind of been hitting at this. I have got a crazy weekend coming up for me. So if things are a little bit off of schedule-wise and maybe things will happen when they're supposed to, hope you guys will understand. Doing our best to kind of plan accordingly around that. But for right now, what you can plan is tomorrow night, we're going to do our Auburn versus Cal preview and predictions live stream. Don't miss it. Invite a friend. Tell your Cal friends that are talking trash on social media to be here. I will open up the phone lines exclusively for them tomorrow night, unless we get a Cal insider fan that wants to spend the whole show with us. But don't miss it. 8 p.m. tomorrow night. And of course, I always will we're going to plan to do our Auburn Experience recording at 9 Eastern, like we normally do next Sunday, but I'm feeling like that's going to change. More on that later. Check out all the links in the description for ways that you can help support us. You can be a Cocker Club member. You can join that for $1 a month here on YouTube. Smash the like button, but you can hit the join button down there. You can go to patreon.com/E2C Network to join via that way. There are several ways that you can financially support us, keep the lights on here, but the biggest thing you can do is just be here, hang out with us, and spend time being part of our little family within the Auburn family. In fact, if you don't want to miss the next live stream, stay here to the end of the stream on YouTube. It'll take you directly over to that pre-watch page. You can go ahead and hit the like button, the notify me bell. And I know that seems like a little small thing you can do, but it is a huge help. With that being said, folks, another great Wednesday night stream in the books. We'll be doing it again next weekend if all goes according to plan. Looking forward to talking to you guys tomorrow after the Cal game, and much more coming up very soon. It's going to be a fun week and weekend of Auburn and college football. So I'll talk to you again. War Eagle.